This evening, Prime Minister Phillips spoke on the government's goal to transition to a low-carbon economy. A large amount of cannabis was found and destroyed by police in Region 6. Kaneville man convicted for the 2017 murder of Brian Charles Yearwood. In the region, Haiti factory workers go on strike to demand a pay rise. And internationally, poor harvest in Sudan raises prices, force reliant on aid. Greetings and welcome to another edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. I am Bibi Bacchus. Thank you for joining us. In 2022, Guyana will pursue a low-carbon transportation infrastructure in order to reduce its reliance on imported fossil fuels for vehicular transportation. Prime Minister Brigadier Retired Mark Phillips made the announcement on Day 3 of the International Energy Conference and Expo, which is ongoing at the Marriott Hotel in Georgetown. The minister stated that Guyana is committed to a low-carbon economy while advancing its transition away from conventional energy sources.
To accomplish this, we intend to foster the development of an electric vehicle industry to substitute fossil fuels with electricity while enhancing the ability of the electric grid to integrate high levels of intermittent renewable energy. To this end, the installation of fast charging stations for electric vehicles will be piloted during 2022 in regions 3, 4, and 6. This would be supplemented with future initiatives to increase efficiency levels of vehicle consumption of fuel.
The Prime Minister noted that the new oil-producing nation intends to create an energy mix using low-carbon energy resources such as solar, hydro, wind, biomass, and natural gas. He said the energy mix will lead to more than 500 megawatts of newly installed energy over the next 5 years.
This project will provide some 300 megawatts of power to the national grid and is expected to result in substantial cost savings for power generation, while reducing electricity costs to consumers by at least 50%. In parallel, the implementation of the 165 megawatts Amila Falls hydropower project will be advanced to further enhance our nation's energy security.
According to Prime Minister Phillips, Guyana's energy transition would undergo 3 stages. From 2022 to 2027, there will be a combination of natural gas, hydro, and solar power. In 2027 to 2032, the second stage will see the replacement of heavy fuel oil and expansion of wind farms and the commissioning of Guyana's second hydro plant. The third phase, which will commence in 2032, will see the expansion of those projects that use new technologies. However, Prime Minister Phillips stated that the government is currently establishing solar farms and mini hydropower systems in the hinterland with close to $1.1 billion set aside for this purpose in the 2022 budget. He claims that energy access has far-reaching economic, environmental, and social benefits.
In addition to serving domestic needs, it is important to link rural electrification efforts to productive activities such as ICT, connectivity, commerce, and agro-processing to allow for greater community involvement, retention of skills in the communities, and long-term sustainability.
The Prime Minister reiterated that Guyana remains committed to achieving a low-carbon economy and added that the transition to clean energy will remain a national priority. A significant amount of cannabis, with a street value of near $100 million, was found and destroyed by police ranks in Region 6. Here is Dale Jarvis with more details.
Police in Regional Division Number 6 conducted an eradication exercise at Gateroy Village, Berbice River, and destroyed $90 million worth of narcotics on Thursday, February 17th. Led by a gazetted officer, the ranks went to the location and discovered a field measuring approximately 10 acres. The field contained roughly 115,000 cultivated plants measuring between 1 to 5 feet in height, with an average weight of 2,785 pounds were discovered. 4 makeshift camps and 1 drying area containing 215 cannabis plants drying, which was estimated at 3,000 pounds, were also found. According to the police, the estimated value of the cultivated and dried cannabis is approximately $90 million. Also in Region 6, acting on information received, police went to a secluded area on the southern bank of the Kanji River, where a search was conducted for narcotics, guns and ammunition, and stolen articles. The police discovered 5 bulky parcels wrapped in transparent and black plastic. Further checks of the parcels revealed they contained several leaves, seeds, and stems suspected to be cannabis. No one was in the vicinity at the time the search was conducted. The suspected cannabis was taken to the Central Police Station, weighed, and amounted to 90 pounds. Reporting for Headline News Update, Dale Jervis.
Thanks, Dale. Stick around after the break. Kaneville man convicted for the 2017 murder of Brian Charles Yearwood and GRA warrants of strict penalties for smuggling and tax evasion.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny?
I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road, Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brickdam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Measles.
Welcome back. A Kaneville man was found guilty of the 2017 murder of 16-year-old Brian Charles Yearwood at a concert. Esther Soares has more.
24-year-old Shannon Cox of Lot 261 Kaneville Grove East Bank, Demerara, was found guilty of murder when he appeared at the Demerara High Court on February 18, 2022. Cox and co-accused 21-year-old Andy Peters were charged for the murder of 16-year-old Brian Charles Yearwood during a concert in 2017. On Monday, Cox co-accused 21-year-old Andy Peters was freed after the judge upheld a no-case submission that was made to the court by his lawyer. Cox appeared before Justice Simon Morris Ramlal and pleaded not guilty. He denied the charge, which alleged that on April 29, 2017 at Covent Garden East Bank, Demerara, he murdered Yearwood. According to reports, Yearwood of Kaneville East Bank, Demerara was stabbed in the region of the heart during a scuffle. The stabbing took place during a concert held at the school. A 12-member jury, after deliberating for almost 2 hours, found Cox not guilty of murder, but guilty for lesser counts of manslaughter. As such, Justice Morris Ramlar deferred sentence until March 10, 2022. For Channel 2 Headline News, Esther Sobers.
Thanks, Esther. The Ghana Revenue Authority is reminding all importers, wholesalers, and retailers that the imported packages, units of alcoholic or tobacco products must be affixed with an excise stamp in accordance with the amendment made under Regulations 212 of the Customs Act, Chapter 2801. In accordance with this regulation, the authorities has increased its law enforcement activities, which have resulted in multiple seizures. In its ongoing effort to tackle the trade of illicit tobacco brands, GRA reminds importers, wholesalers, retailers, and users of tobacco products that the legitimate imported brands, which are thus far deemed in compliance with tax laws and Health Act, are as follows: Pall Mall, Bristol, Dunhill, GT Smart, Darkies, and Manchester. The Revenue Authority takes this opportunity to restate its commitment to working together with legitimate importers and the general public to ensure compliance with the various tax, trade, and border laws. As a result, persons or companies who may not be fully compliant are urged to visit the Revenue Authority headquarters to regularize their trade dealings and become compliant. GRA reminds the public that smuggling and any type of tax evasion are being pursued with zero tolerance policy. Offenders may suffer legal consequences, including prosecution if the laws are broken. Persons are asked to contact GRA's hotline number 227-6060 for clarification or report attempted smuggling activities or illicit products. Don't go away after the break. Haiti factory workers go on strike to demand pay increase, and Russia-Ukraine crisis. Belarus warns it could host nuclear weapons. But before that, here's the bridge retraction schedule.
Furnishing your home or office has never been easier. Here at Kissoon's, our inventory of locally made and imported furniture, offered at amazing prices, will leave you wanting more. From vinyl, floor rugs and carpets, bedroom, dining and living room sets, mattresses, pillows, office desk, chairs and filing cabinets, outdoor benches and tables. We have a piece of furniture for every room imaginable in your home or office. Check out our flagship store at Industrial Site Rijnveld or one of our branches in New Amsterdam, Port Morant, Riverton and Camp Street. Kissoon's Furniture, furnishing homes for over 50 years.
Good girl forget things.
What's the problem, Granny? I want money for borrow for those surgery. I was dancing and I fall and fracture my hip.
If you need some quick money, you should check Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop, Lot 238 South Road Border, Georgetown. Get jewelry made to order in just 72 hours. We also accept vehicles. Lender's, best rates, longest payback period.
Boys, I get through. Plus, I could dance again. Lender's Jewelry and Pawn Shop.
Maison Francois is the chocolate paradise of Guyana. From the moment you enter our store, you are welcomed by the sweet aroma of Belgian chocolate. pastries, and other artisanal treats handmade by our European trained chef. Our convenient location at the City Mall is the perfect place to take that special someone or to take home a little sweetness. So treat yourself with a taste of Paris in the heart of Georgetown, only at Maison Francois.
Sooner or later you will have another power failure. Are you prepared for the next blackout? Some essential equipment such as security cameras, lights, internet, gate motors, and water pumps may stop working. How can you prevent the next blackout? InverterTech has an affordable solution for you. A strong UPS system which uses the latest inverter and solar battery technology to prevent blackout. We smartly calculate your average power demand so you don't spend more than you need to. Call 223-2233 for more information.
When you need money and you gotta get it fast, Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop is the place for that confidential transaction in a quiet and secure location. You'll get the highest value per pennyweight for your gold and also enjoy the lowest interest rates and longest payback period too. Yes, for that instant transaction to solve a pressing financial problem. That Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, 46 Boyle Place, that's between the Ministry of Housing on Brick Dam and White Castle Fish Shop. Be your first and only choice. Creative Jewelry and Pawn Shop, safe and sound, solid and secure, always there for you. Telephone 231-7878 and 223-8955.
Welcome back. Here is our junior reporter Talisha Holder with today's regional and international news.
Good evening. Now we take a look at news in the region and around the world. Thousands of factory workers have gone on strike in the capital of Haiti to demand better pay. Al Jazeera's Therese Bo reports.
From the factory floor to the streets of the Haitian capital, these workers from an industrial park in Port-au-Prince are demanding a raise to the minimum wage. Batil Joseph says he can barely survive on his income.
We take to the streets to protest and make our voices heard, especially with the international community because we live in poverty. There is no government that thinks of us.
Many of these people work to make textiles and clothing that get sold at large-scale retailers in the US and other countries. They say they are paid less than $5 a day for 9 hours of work. They're demanding the equivalent of 15. An inflation rate of around 20% in the country is a major concern. Workers say they spent half their salary to pay for transportation just to go to work.
We are launching the movement to demand the government listen to our voices so that it can adjust the minimum wage. We have made some steps and sent letters to them. They have never heard us.
The protest began last week, and on Thursday the police again used tear gas and rubber bullets to disperse the demonstration. Factory workers used burning tires to block the roads.
We're protesting peacefully with sticks. The police are abusing us. We do not consider them as police. We consider them as gangs.
Haiti is in the middle of a political and social crisis since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse. Gangs control large sectors of the capital, and violence and kidnappings are widespread. The country is also struggling to recover from a devastating 7.2 earthquake which destroyed the southern tip of the peninsula, something the acting Prime Minister addressed at the Donors Conference on Wednesday.
Haiti n'a pas seulement connu des chocs naturels.
Haiti was not only hit by a natural shock, but it's also affected by others of human origin, which shows its vulnerability. Social and political movements and rising crime constitute the challenges we have to face.
As tensions in the Caribbean island run high, workers here say they will continue with their struggle for better wages. They say they haven't had a raise in more than 3 years and will continue protesting until the government meets their demands. Teresa Bo, Al Jazeera.
Internationally, poor harvests in Sudan's western Darfur region have led to high food prices at markets. Al Jazeera's Hibon Morgan reports.
Every month, Hawa Ismail and her youngest son Hamid come here to receive food assistance, help she needs to keep him and his other siblings back home fed.
When we tried to farm last year, the pests destroyed it, so we couldn't produce anything. So now we rely on the food distribution to take home and cook to feed him and his siblings.
Hamid is one of hundreds of children who rely on help from the UN's World Food Programme in El Fasher in Sudan's North Darfur state. Like the rest of the region, it has been devastated by years of conflict. More than 300,000 people have died and over 2 million displaced, according to the United Nations. And like the rest of the country, it's been hit by high inflation. Traders in the market say a bad harvest led to higher prices and fewer people buying.
People come from time to buy, and sometimes they don't buy. The market has been mostly stagnant, unlike the previous years.
Farming in North Darfur was already affected by conflict in the region. Many farmers have had little to no access to their farms because of fighting involving armed groups. Farmers also blame climate change for reduced rainfall, leading to a poor harvest. All that's caused rising food prices, which many cannot afford. The World Food Programme says 1.8 million people need aid to survive, up from 1.4 million last year. Nearly 400,000 of those are school children. The organization says it's trying to adapt to the needs of people, but it faces challenges.
We do not have enough donations to be able to meet these challenges and provide assistance to everybody in need. And we're faced with a terrible and a tragic situation where we have to choose from who receives assistance and who does not. So what we need is more support from the international community, but we also need the government to solve the conflict of this state.
The government says the assistance helps keep children in school and out of the workforce.
We have kids in schools who are as young as 8 who do harsh labour that affects their well-being. That includes girls who face violations, so having a school feeding programme reduces child labour and protects the children because it keeps them from going to work to be able to buy food for themselves.
Hawa says she hopes the situation in the state improves so she doesn't have to continue to rely on aid for her son. But until that happens, she says she'll continue to receive assistance so she can save money for her family for other needs. Hiba Morgan, Al Jazeera, El Fasher, North Darfur.
And finally, Belarus is ready to host nuclear weapons if threatened by the West. Al Jazeera's Steph Bassins reports.
Showing off military force near the border with Ukraine, these war games held by Russia and Belarus have not only spooked the West but also many Belarusians. President Alexander Lukashenko's remarks when visiting one of the training grounds added to the concerns.
If necessary, if such stupid and mindless steps are taken by our rivals and opponents, we will not only deploy nuclear weapons, but super-nuclear ones to protect our country. But if there are no threats, we don't need nuclear weapons for 100 years.
Belarus will hold a referendum next week to amend the country's constitution, not only letting Lukashenko stay in power, but also allowing nuclear weapons from Russia to be based in the country. Lukashenko has been isolated by the West after a violent crackdown on protesters in the past year and a half. He turned to Putin for help. In return, Russia is increasingly using Belarus on the border with NATO as a military training ground.
Troops have arrived here from as far as 10,000 kilometers away, the far east of Russia. While Russia has now announced that it's withdrawing its troops back to the south and the west of the country, away from Belarus, many are wondering what will happen to the other Russian forces here.
In Pinsk, just 30 kilometers from the border, Belarusians and Ukrainians have lived together for generations. They are worried about being dragged into a possible war.
I personally think it's a dangerous precedent. I don't like that so many Russians come to Belarus. The situation around Ukraine is very tense and we are all deeply worried. Ukrainian people are very close to us. Our towns have very good relations with Ukrainians. My heart aches for Ukraine. Also, we're afraid that the occupation has been happening silently, and we don't like it because we fear that Russian troops may stay here.
And their presence is very much felt driving around the south of Belarus. Satellite images appear to show that instead of withdrawing, more troops are being sent to the region. The drills are scheduled to end on February 20. Only then it will become clear if soldiers will return to their bases, as Moscow has promised. Step Fasten, Al Jazeera, in Luninets, Belarus.
Thanks, Delisha. Here now is the 3-day weather forecast. And that is all for this edition of Channel 2 Headline News Updates. Tune in on Monday at 7 p.m. for another episode. Be sure to subscribe, like, and follow us on Facebook and YouTube. Until then, please take care of yourself and each other.